I've always wondered how Zazu looks different from his brothers and sisters, yet they came from the same set of parents. Of course, I figured genetics were at play, that being how half of the DNA is from mom and how half of it's from dad. However, there is more to his phenotype, or his appearance, than meets the eye. There is a process called meiosis, which makes him look different from his family.
Man, I feel great. I mean, nothing could ruin a wonderful day like this.
Meiosis is not as scary as it might seem, especially given with meiosis 1 and meiosis 2 could be seen as intimidating, but I can break it down very simple ways, or at least be able to explain it where you can understand. Meiosis is the process that determines how an offspring of a set of parents will look through sexual reproduction along with their DNA. Yes, DNA is passed down from parents to child with half from each, but there is a more in-depth way, if you will, that plays into it all. Meiosis is split into two larger sections, meiosis 1 and meiosis 2. During meiosis 1, prophase 1, the mother cell contains replicated chromosomes with small differences in the DNA. During this prophase 1, chromosomes undergo crossing over, which is exchanging small pieces of DNA with one another to increase a genetic diversity. This goes into metaphase 1, where tetrads, homologous pairs of chromosomes, line up in the middle. A spindle forms and fibers on either end attach to it. Anaphase 1, which is where it goes after metaphase, is where the homologous structures separate to opposite ends or at the poles. This leads into telophase 1, where two haploid daughter cells with nuclear membranes in each. At this point, we're about halfway through the meiosis process completely, with finishing up meiosis 1 ending at telophase, where the cytoplasm separates so they can become two separate cells, as I mentioned before, which are haploids. Going into meiosis 2, replicate again in prophase 2, but do not undergo crossing over. They already did that back in prophase 1, so no need to do it again. These chromosomes are not identical. The chromosomes line up in the cell during metaphase 2 and begin to pull on opposite ends, separating the cell into two. The chromatids separate in anaphase, forming non-replicated chromosomes. They go to the poles of the cell and separate, going into telophase 2. At the end of telophase 2, there are 4 daughter cells, each of which is haploid. So meiosis, unlike mitosis, ends up breaking down into 4 daughter cells, which are haploids, genetic diversity between them, rather than just 2 copies of itself in mitosis. That's not all, though. Those 4 and daughter cells are called gametes, which can also be germline cells. Germline cells differentiate between male and female. Male germline cells develop into sperm, while female germline cells develop into eggs, also known as ova. During fertilization, a zygote is formed due to a haploid sperm cell and the haploid egg. When they combine, they create a diploid zygote. This develops into an embryo, which can further develop through embryonic processes and all the other fun stuff into a baby. Overall, with the process of meiosis, a cell divides and swaps parts of its DNA to create genetic diversity. None of the cells during meiosis are identical, therefore allowing Zazu to look different from his family. This process also applies to the organisms that go through sexual reproduction, which includes humans. This is why people have half of the DNA from their mom and half of their DNA from their father.